Okay, welcome back to Teen Muscle Radio and episode number 14. So today I am joined by Carla Chacksfield and we are going to be discussing a load of topics and some really exciting ones as well. So if you don't know Carla, then you'll probably really know her by the end. We're going to get deep into obviously what Carla's about, what she's been through, and discuss some quite interesting topics that I'm excited to hear her opinions on as well. So before we get into it, Carla, introduce yourself to the listeners and give them a bit of an idea about you.
Hi guys, so I'm Carla Chacksfield. I'm from Kent, Ashford, Kent. I'm 25 years of age and I help people get healthy. I have my own nutrition business called IC Fit. I used to run a pub for 2 years, got quite ill in the process, really overworked and really underpaid, which then led me on to my kind of health journey and bodybuilding. I've done 2 BMBF competitions now, both in figure, which kind of really changed my aspect on health and life and everything and training in general, really. Went from being a cardio bunny to kind of a ripped figure athlete. So that's me.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I never knew about the pub and all of that jazz. So yeah, that's really, really cool. So give the listener an idea about, obviously you're involved in the fitness industry now, like throughout every single day, correct? You've not got like another part-time job or anything like that. This is your business, correct?
Yeah, my business is my business. I don't necessarily go to work every day. I work from my mobile phone, so it's very social media, post on Instagram, share to Facebook, share my life on Snapchat. It's more about inspiring healthy living and helping other people change, because I never knew how to change. I remember seeing like figure models and being like, oh my goodness, I'd love to look like that, doing hours of cardio and being on a cabbage soup diet. And I just never ever got to where I want to be. So now I want to inspire other girls who are stuck to live a healthier lifestyle and get to kind of, they want to be eating right and obviously weight training.
Sure, brilliant. So what like initially got you into it, do you think? So you mentioned that you worked in a pub and you had other jobs. So what made you bridge that gap from thinking, you know, screw this, I'm going to quit, I'm going to go full time, I'm going to invest myself into something like the fitness industry, and maybe discuss any struggles that you had initially when sort of setting up your own business and all of that. So give us a roundup on that.
So when just before prom, so maybe like 10 years ago, I put on about 2 stone. I moved out from my mum's house with my nan, lots of tea and biscuits and whole massive cooked pies and stuff. And I remember being quite overweight before my prom, and I then moved back in with my mum, and she was like, Carly, you really need to do something. Like, I wasn't huge, but I was overweight for my age. Okay. And that kind of really got me into the gym in the beginning, doing lots of cross trainer, doing lots of body pump and like yoga and Pilates, things like that. And so I kind of have always been a gym bunny. Like, I never really knew about nutrition. I knew what fruit and veg was. I don't think I'd ever squatted properly until 2 years ago, until I got my personal trainer. So it was more just about the classes and going out for runs. I trained for a marathon, and I swear cardio makes me fat now, because I put on so much weight training for that marathon, because obviously I was so hungry.
Always so hungry,
and so hungry from training for that. And so now anytime that someone says they do cardio, I'm like, oh my god, let's stop that, not do any cardio whatsoever, because it made me hungry and I was just eating more food, and obviously I was getting fatter and fatter. So then I'd done a lot of traveling and I've done quite a bit in the last 10 years since I left school.
Sure.
I then went to run a pub, and I was working like 70 hours a week for minimal money. I was going to the gym every morning, still doing my body pump classes and things like that. And then a personal trainer in the gym had just started, Justin, as you probably know.
Okay.
I was on the treadmill at the time, and he come up to me. He's like, "What are you training today, Carla?" And I was like, arms. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm just here to do my cardio and stuff. And he was like, "Do you want to train together?" And from that, just one free session, he gave me so much information within that session. I was like blown away. Like, I had known him from the gym, kind of just like, hi, as you do in the morning.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I didn't really know anything about Justin, and he totally changed my whole concept, and literally over the last 2 years has literally changed my life. Like,
Wow.
I owe him so much for like getting my I never knew what a macro was. Never. I never knew that I could eat as much as I wanted within my macros and then still lose weight at the end of it. So like, I literally ate myself thin, and I never ever thought I would do that. So I said to Justin in October 2014, if you can get me to stage, I will train with you 3 times a week. Like, I will pay you. If you can get me to the stage in the summer, I was like, I will pay you for this. Like, I'm serious. And I never ever thought, I remember having like screenshots of like really ripped girls on my phone from Instagram, and I never ever ever thought that I would be one of those people. Never in my life, because I was starving myself and I was doing loads of cardio and nothing was changing. I just never ever thought that would be me up on that stage. So I said to Justin, if you can get me to stage for the summer, then let's go, I'm ready for it. And obviously I had to do a bit of bulking, standing at 10 p.m. at night with like 300 calories left to eat. Like, Justin, don't make me eat this, I don't want to eat it. And he really, really changed my whole aspect of eating and training. We got squatting, and the amount that I learned with him within such a short period of time, like, just has literally changed my life. He stopped training in the gym, unfortunately, in February. And then I kind of got myself to stage this year, with a little bit of support from him, but he had already left the gym. So yeah, it's all thanks to Justin, really. I would probably still be a binge eating cardio bunny.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in similar situations where, you know, I've been motivated by other people to sort of get involved in the sport and have that passion and that drive to sort of be like the other people that you look up to. And I think that's really important, especially for females. Like, they look up to so many people that, you know, and you've proved yourself here that you can actually be one of those people, and you can actually get your goals, and, you know, be on stage and be that shredded female. And that's really, really awesome to hear. I'm sure that will motivate a lot of girls. So in terms of like getting into like your current job and how you obviously you run your own business, you work your own hours and all of that, like how did that transition take place? So obviously you met Justin and got into weight training. So at what point, how recently was it that you sort of stopped doing your other job and really just went full time in your own business?
So I started training with Justin in October 14, and I'd recently just gone for a promotion. I was already running a pub as an assistant manager, and I'd gone for a promotion to basically have my name over the door, and they said no. I was like, well, I'm running the pub already, like, I can't prove myself to you anymore. And they were basically like, no. And from kind of that October to Christmas, I was just a bit like, what's the point in working? What is the point in any of this? So Christmas Day, I cried all morning. Like, I'd really dug myself in quite a horrible position because of work.
Oh, wow.
I was eating cake every night to give me energy to cash up the tills, and I was drinking 2 litres of Diet Coke every day to like get me through the day. Like, it's so bad. But I was bulking, so I was allowed to eat cake. So Christmas Day, I was on Roaccutane, which is quite a strong acne drug, then during that October to December time had actually given me depression because I was so low and because the drug was so toxin to my body.
Strong, isn't it?
So Christmas Day, I was just in a terrible position in my mind, like mental health, and I cried all morning. I went to work, cried all evening, got to my family's house that night, had presents of bags, and my brother opened the door, and I just had literally the worst breakdown ever. It was horrific.
Oh, no.
And I said to like my stepmom, I was just like, it's either my job or my life. And I was like, today I'm going to choose my life. And I was like, I quit my job, like I just can't do it anymore. So I called up the next day and I just said, just to let you know, I'm not coming back. Like, that's it, I'm done. Like, I need to focus on me now.
Yeah.
And I was just in a really bad kind of like mental health issue at the time. And
Sounds it, yeah.
when people say like they're depressed, I always used to think, just snap out of it, go for a walk, do something fun, laugh a little bit. But now I've actually been through like the anxiety and like the depression myself. Like, I totally understand when people come from when they say they're struggling. So before that, in the December time, I'd put a status on Facebook saying, like, can anyone help me with my skin? I was obviously on Roaccutane. I'd been to the doctors, face wash, face creams, had a face bleach that I'd bought.
Oh, no.
And I actually found it about 2 months ago and just bin that. I was like, gee. And my friend came to me and she put me a message on Facebook and said, I've actually got something that you'll really like. I know you're into your gym and fitness, and this is actually really going to help you. And at the time I was just like, give me all the drugs. Like, I'll take whatever you got. And she was like, Carla, it's just fruit and veg. I was like, I don't care what it is. Just give me it. If it's going to help with my skin, then I'll take it.
Yep.
So I started taking the product in like early December, and I'd seen such a huge health difference within myself within 4 weeks, within a really short period of time.
Yep.
And I started taking the shakes, started taking the capsules, which is literally just fruit and veg without the fibre and the sugar. It's just fruit and veg.
Okay.
And I was then having less anxiety, so I was sleeping better. I used to have dreams at memory of my wardrobe, and I would never be able to sleep, like during that October to like December time. And I noticed that I wasn't feeling as anxious, so my depression didn't seem as bad.
Okay.
I had more energy just naturally, and within about 4 weeks I remember stepping out the shower and scrubbing my face with my towel and going like, Lindsay, like, what have you given me? Because I literally, I wasn't totally free, but my face was so less sore. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I said, like, Lindsay, what have you given me? Like, what is this? This is really powerful. And she was like, it's just fruit and veg. And so then I quit my job Christmas Day, and then I was speaking to Lindsay, and she said, well, why don't you join the business? Like, you've seen a good health change within yourself. Why don't you then start helping other people with this? So I then helped my mum with her arthritis. I then gave my brother the same, and it helped with his acne. And I was just a bit blown away by how much had changed in a really short period of time. And I was just like, I actually love this.
Yeah.
And I feel I need to tell as many people as I can about my change and what's happened. So I literally joined the business the next day online, the day after Boxing Day.
Yeah.
And obviously then everyone was on their Christmas detoxes. It was a kickstart to the new year. I was on this new product that I loved, and I was just sharing it with everybody. And kind of from that January, like, my whole life just totally changed. I just wanted to tell everyone how fabulous I was feeling because of the product that I was taking, and I wanted to share it with everyone else. I'd read thousands of testimonials and heard other stories from the team that I'm in, and I didn't know anything about the business, but I was just so blown away by the product. I was just like, that's it. It's like, I never want to go back to work now. Like, I need to like work on myself and help other people with this. So then, like, the January was absolutely huge for me, and I was so blown away by my first paycheck that I was just like, that this is where I'm going with it. So then I started my business IC Fit, which kind of mainly focused on nutrition, rather than, like, obviously we know macros and proteins and things like that, and just I really wanted to help people with what Justin had taught me, how it was helping change my body. I then wanted to help other people along the lines of nutrition, rather than a fad diet.
Okay.
So it just kind of went from there, really, and I just slowly built my team, slowly got a customer base, and that was like 21 months ago. I knew I never wanted to go back to work, and I knew I had to make this work. So that was kind of where I went with it.
Wow, interesting. So do you employ like a team of people then? Are you like do you outsource how people sell your products, or how does it work? Are you like the sort of the main holder of like IC Fit, and then there's people that work below you, or how does that all work? I'm interested.
So it's a franchise.
Okay.
So you buy your own franchise, which is £50.
Okay.
So you don't have to invest a lot. And you have an upline, so someone that brings you into the business. They are kind of there to show you how to do things. So I got my customers really good results. They'd seen change within their self, and then I said, well, you've seen a good health change within yourself, why don't you then share it with a few other people? So they make their franchise, and then they help a few other people, and then obviously they're making a bit of commission, and then they help some more other people. So it's literally just about sharing a product that we love, and then we make a commission from obviously what we share with people and what our team shares with people.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's like, obviously you're out there to help a lot of people, and from what it sounds like, obviously there's products there that can make a huge difference. And I think what the general, there's a lot of general misconceptions about these products. So before I sort of ask about the misconceptions and what you think and your thoughts of them, just explain to the listeners that, like, the type of products that you sell and that you mainly sell through your business.
So I opened a Juice Plus franchise, and that's kind of what I work alongside.
Okay.
So we have shakes, and obviously we have capsules, and then that's where everyone goes like, it's a fad diet because you're going to get everyone on shakes and tell them to eat no food.
Exactly.
So what Juice Plus is basically is fruit and veg. So they pick it at the peak of ripeness so that it's still got all its nutrients in.
Okay.
They cool it, and to preserve the nutrients, they dry it.
Yep.
At a temperature, and they take out the sugar, they take out the fibre.
Okay.
And then you're literally just left with the phytonutrients. You're just left with the goodness.
And then it's put into a capsule.
Yeah, and the shakes are very, very similar. It's just plant-based protein, so there's no whey in it. It's literally just plants.
Okay.
So the capsules hold 30 raw varieties of fruit and veg.
Okay.
And if you think, like, most people don't get maybe 5 in a day.
Yep.
So that's where the capsules are so powerful, because it's giving people a raw variety in their diet every day. And then the shakes hold 17. So I just say to people, use them as like on-the-go snacks, or like just energy drinks through the day. Like, take out your coffee, take out your Red Bull, and just have a shake that's got 17 fruit and veg in.
So when you advise people to use these products, are you advising them to use them alongside their current, like, or as alongside a diet that you're advising them to have? So obviously, do you, through IC Fit, do you do like nutritional programming for like a normal diet, so like your normal foods, and then you include the capsules as a sort of a supplement, and the protein shakes as another supplement to go on top of a normal diet? Is that correct?
Yeah, indeed. So I always tell people to download MyFitnessPal, because it makes people realise how many calories are in what. And I think even giving the normal people the advantage of using something like MyFitnessPal just makes people realise that, oh my goodness, how many calories was I drinking in that Dr. Pepper, for instance? And then they realise that cauliflower has got like 40 calories, and they're like, why aren't I eating more of this vegetables, because it's got no calories in? So I kind of just take people back to basics, really. And fruit and veg, and obviously your healthy carbohydrates, and then making sure they're getting enough protein through the day. Are they kind of hitting their protein goals? I'll give them kind of like basic macros of like what to work with, and then see how their body changes over time. But it's more, let's go back to the basics of eating healthy, because I find people are like, I don't know how to eat healthy.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
just don't know.
that's like a massive one, because I find it a lot as well. Not so much with the people that I work with online, but more the people that I work with one to one, which are more sort of general population people that sort of, they want to lose weight, they want to get healthier, and they genuinely don't have a clue. So you show them MyFitnessPal and you give them macros, and they're like, what the fuck do I do with this? They don't have a clue, So I think people generally respond really well. I've had great results with general population clients on just a food diary, and just looking at what they're eating and saying, okay, this is right, this is wrong. We need to increase protein intake here. We need to change this, change that. And the food diary, or at least like some element of a log to keep track of what they're consuming, is something that I think is really, really helpful. So that's obviously a great thing that you're doing that. And obviously that covers one of the biggest misconceptions about the products, is that I think a lot of people think that Juice Plus products is a diet, or Juice Plus is like you just eat, like you just have a shake.
Yeah.
And it's just shakes, and then you have a few capsules. So what do you think the other misconceptions are that people just that maybe sometimes annoy you or irritate you, that people skip? They don't look at what Juice Plus is, because for me, looking in, it's like I look at Juice Plus and what you've described, it's like I buy like a powder, like a Super Greens powder, which is probably marginally similar in terms of like what the type of things going on in the capsules are, like my Super Greens powder. And I saw there's hundreds and hundreds of people that buy Super Greens powders out there, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people that don't like whey protein that buy plant protein. So what do you think the other misconceptions are that people sort of generally have with Juice Plus, and why would you sort of say goodbye to them?
I think the misconception is because it comes from someone that is sharing a product, and obviously people just think it's because we're out to make money. But then again, like, it's our own personal business at the end of the day, and I like something and I want to share it with someone. I think that's where the misconception comes from, because it's not given by doctors because they just want to sell you the drugs, because it's not in Holland and Barrett's, because I'm sharing it with you. People are like, oh no, like, it's a fad diet. So then people think it's also like diet pills. And we know really there's nothing that is a diet pill, because we know calories in versus calories out is going to get you weight loss.
Yeah.
We know that there's no point in replacing a meal with a shake, because at the end of the day, it's all about calories. And that's what I really try to get to people is, you can eat 1,000 calories worth of Kit Kat, or you can have 1,000 calories worth of shake. Like, if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to necessarily feel healthy if you're eating Kit Kats for 1,000 calories. Yeah. So I try to get people just down to the basics of, this is a health supplement and it goes on top of what you're having now. Like, my goddad doesn't hardly eat any fruit and veg. He came onto the capsules after about 6 months of me being like, you should probably try these. Because he used to suffer with colds all year round, in and out of fridges all the time. He's up at like 3 a.m. So like his body clock and his temperature is just up and down all the time.
Sure.
And he just generally used to have a cold all year round. He then came onto the capsules last October and hasn't had a cold since. So that's how powerful the side of the fruit and veg is, that people don't get enough. So just adding that into your diet on top of what you're doing now is going to make a huge difference. And that's the kind of the message I tried to get out, that it is just fruit and veg, it is changing lives, and you do need more in your life.
Yeah, it's massively important. Like, people overlook micronutrients massively, and especially, like you said it, obviously, if you're in a deficit, you will lose fat. Yeah, you will lose fat, regardless if you're in a deficit or whatever, if you're in a deficit. But the thing is, obviously, from a health perspective and from feeling good in a deficit and your immune system, etc., you're going to need a good amount of micronutrients in your diet. You're going to need fruit and veg, and people just, people are lazy, people don't buy fruit and veg, people avoid it like the plague, and from in a general population diet, you generally don't see, you know, you maybe see like the occasional banana hop in now and again, but you don't see like, you know, the amount of fruit and veg that you really should be hitting in a day. And I think that's probably one of the main benefits from the product. Like, it sounds to me, it's like it just covers your bases. It's like an insurance policy for micronutrients, which I see as a really beneficial thing. One other question that I did have is, do all Juice Plus promoters or people that get into Juice Plus and selling the product, do they, like, give us your honest opinion, do you think they all have a good idea as to how to control calories? Because I'm very trustworthy of you. I think you do have a great idea of fitness, health, nutrition, etc. But do you think all Juice Plus providers do have a good idea of giving nutrition advice in terms of controlling overall calories and making sure that this is just a product to add to a good, healthy diet?
No, of course not, because we're here to share something that we love. And that's the great thing kind of about the business, is anyone can do the business. Anyone can share a product. Anyone can share their product story. And our business is mainly based on sharing. Like, I can give you a study, because there's 35 studies against our name that no one else has got out there, to say that it helps with oxidative stress.
Okay.
You probably are not going to read that study. But then I can tell you that it's helped my acne and it's helped many other things, and then you can relate to that. Or you probably know someone with acne that can probably benefit from the product. So
100%.
I know that I'm in a good position to help people, and that's why I put my business out there for nutrition advice. But the good thing about the business is people don't have to be doctors. We don't have to have degrees. We don't have to give out nutrition advice. And so that's where people probably get a misconception as well, that people have no idea what they're talking about. But it is just about sharing a product. It's not about Juice Plus is a diet, because Juice Plus don't give us diets.
Okay.
Juice Plus don't give us anything except the product.
Okay. So if like someone that was buying the product then asked about nutritional recommendations as a, like, in terms of their overall diet, obviously you're in a very good position to give them advice, but do you think sometimes there's maybe slightly incorrect advice given out or not?
Of course. And Juice Plus have on the back of the packet, it says meal replacements.
Yeah, cool, brilliant.
So again, when my customers get shakes, I have to then reiterate that I don't want you to use it as a meal replacement. So it is about just people going out and finding what works for them. And obviously it would be beneficial to humans if everyone in Juice Plus had nutrition behind them.
You know, there's so many people out there that don't sell Juice Plus that are giving shit recommendations. So I don't think it's just Juice Plus. And I think exactly what you were saying there about, like, it would be beneficial if everyone that sold the product had great ideas in terms of nutrition, but that's probably not going to be possible because, you know, unless there was some sort of education process when you hopped on board. But it sounds like, you know, it's a very cheap, very cost-effective buy-in to get you selling the product. You know, like you mentioned, sort of £50 sign up to get involved. You know, you're going to get a lot of people doing that, hence why, you know, it's such a popular brand. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that just don't have the knowledge. And, you know, you're doing so well, obviously, because you have, obviously, the element of, you do have the knowledge, you have the business acumen that you can progress your business, and, you know, it's all working together, and it looks like it's going really successfully, which is great. So yeah, that's good. I've got, like, there's a load of information there that should hopefully clear a few things up for people with Juice Plus. So what I wanted to move on to now, Carla, is a bit about your competing and how you've sort of got into it as a female, and things like that. So, you know, you mentioned Justin got you into competing, got you into your first show. Was there any sort of, like, female presence in terms of a motivating factor towards your first female competition? And how do you think that females now, if there's a female listening to this, could sort of look for the best way to get involved in the sport?
You definitely need a coach. Like, you have to have someone there that is going to help you literally every day, every step of the way, because it is a learning process. Like Justin had never had, I was one of his first clients, and he had obviously never got anyone else to stage but himself. So obviously when you're in bodybuilding, it all is just trial and error. So we had to kind of trust each other, like, let's see if this works, let's see if that works. And it was kind of like an experiment, I suppose. That hasn't worked, we'll scrap that. So you definitely need a coach, and they don't necessarily need to have done it before, but they need, if you want to go into bodybuilding, they obviously need to have an idea of what they're doing. Not any personal trainer is just going to be able to get you to stage. I don't believe that at all. So yeah, he just helped me with my nutrition, get me off eating cake and drinking Diet Coke all the time, introduced me to things like deadlifts and squats, which totally transformed my body. I stopped doing cardio, and now the only time I do cardio is before a competition, like 12 weeks out. So that's all stopped now, which is amazing. Like, that's amazing. So anyone that feels they want to go into doing bodybuilding, to make sure you're mentally prepared and you've kind of got the support system and network around you.
Yeah, definitely good advice. And I think for a female as well, you know, not that there's any drastic difference from a female to a male, but I think there's a lot more misconceptions. And, you know, anecdotally, don't bite me, anecdotally I've seen females get more stressed when it comes to comp prep and feel like they're not ready. But like, granted, I've seen it with plenty of males as well. I have a male client at the moment that gets super stressed, like all the time, especially when he's prepping. And I've had female clients that don't get stressed. But I think anecdotally, females on a wider scale get quite stressed when things aren't going right.
It definitely, from like social media, it definitely seems like men have got it more mentally prepared for about what's to happen. So you have to be mentally prepared for it, definitely.
Massively important.
But I see it as, I eat every day anyway. I train every day anyway. It's just more in a consistent kind of, this is the path we need to go down, and you need to keep it like that. So I don't necessarily find it stressful, and I don't have anything stressful in my life now. Because obviously I don't need to get up and go to work every day. So I don't see how people can be super, super stressed and do competing. Like, that must be tough. But for me, it's just about a more consistent path over the 12 weeks, 16 weeks of bringing your calories down, upping your cardio, and working your macros. So I don't really find it stressful. And actually, this prep, I wasn't craving anything. And like, I was 6 weeks out, I was just like, I'm not craving anything. I don't think I'm going to binge after this competition. Like, I was telling everyone on Snapchat, I was like, I'm not even craving anything. Like, I was fancying a mocha, like a Costa's mocha. But apart from that, I like nearly stuck to plan all the way.
That's pretty awesome. Like,
I know,
to stick to plan all the way is really good. It shows a sign of a good prep and also a good mental attitude. And your post on social media really highlighted that. Like, you seemed like really determined to beat yourself and be the best you on stage, which is massively important. And I think what you said about being mentally prepared, I totally agree with it, in terms of you need to get like your external things really nailed as well, in terms of, you know, have you got solid relationships? Have you got any relationship issues? Get them out of the way before you prep, because that's going to be something you don't want to deal with. It's going to be any external stress, work, relationships, family, anything else needs to be dulled or at least kept at bay when you decide to comp prep, because essentially it is quite a selfish thing. And you have to be like, you got lots of training to do, lots of cardio to do, meals to prep, and you know, all these things, training, cardio, meal prep, they're all for you. It's not for anyone else, and it does become like quite selfish.
I think you have to put yourself in this bubble, and it's almost like, no one talk to me for the next like 6 weeks because I need to focus on what I'm doing. Like, and every day it would be like, just focus on what you're doing. Just, you know what you're meant to be doing. Just focus. Just get up, do what you've got to do, and then go back to bed for the next 6 weeks. And it literally was like that for me. I was kind of not wishing my life away, but counting down the days to competition in my little bubble.
Yeah, it's quite easy to get into that mindset, and it almost gets you into that sort of really habitual routine, which is important, but it does sort of lock you in. In terms of like, how do you think, as a female, do you think that there's anything that competition prep has really affected you in terms of the way you look at yourself, or potentially, we've talked about this with Guy on a previous podcast, but like the relationship with like potentially the like food aspect and weighing yourself, etc. So do you think there's anything that comp prep has directly affected you, and how do you think that girls can maybe prepare for this if they're looking to do their first show?
Prepping for competition, doing the whole bulking and then shredding and seeing my body change over a long period of time, I think has personally really helped me now. And actually the other day I went for a photo shoot and the guy was just like, so what part of your body don't you like? And I remember looking down and I was like, to be honest, like, I work hard on my body and there's not really anything I don't like. And you know, people like cover up their arms or cover up their belly and stuff, and I think because I worked so hard to get my body in that kind of like state that it's in now, I don't necessarily hate something about my body. And I think getting to competition has been really helpful with like my food, like, and my nutrition, and now my body looks so much better obviously than it did 2 years ago.
Yep.
I think if I hadn't competed, I definitely wouldn't be in this position now. So like going forward and how I'm feeling now, like definitely bodybuilding has helped me feel this good. Like, and I can't thank Justin or like the whole process enough. Like, it's definitely made me, I think, a better person.
That's awesome. That's really awesome to hear, because obviously like tends to be the like what you'll hear, especially from females as well, is that bodybuilding has created like a, you know, a disproportionate look as to when they look at themselves, they always think they're out of shape, or they look at themselves and think back to when they're shredded. But it seems to for me, in terms of you, you've gained confidence, you've got really confident with your food and your training, and it's improved so many aspects of your life. And I think that's really important for girls to realise, that it's not just like, you know, dieting is hard, it's a difficult process, but it can actually improve your quality of life, improve the way you look at food, and improve everything. So that's awesome. Like, I think that will motivate, or maybe make the decision a bit easier for some girls that are out there that are looking to compete, which is great. The more people involved in the sport, the better, as we know.
Yeah, indeed.
So finally, like, touch on, obviously, like, post-show is a really difficult period in terms of people like basically going mad on food and satisfying all those cravings that you've got during prep. And I know that I struggled with it back in my first sort of competition prep season in 2014. But once I'd sort of got it out the way, like got all the things that I wanted out the way, I sort of was back on track. But it is difficult, and definitely it gets harder the longer it goes on. And I just wanted to get your opinion on how you manage your post-show period, and whether you've got any advice to girls that sort of finish their competitions this year and are maybe looking to quote-unquote reverse diet, or at least maintain a good relationship with food.
So Justin said after my first competition, so we're going to reverse diet out of this. All right, cool. That sounds all right. Like, we'll give you a few extra 100 calories, maybe from like 1,100 to 1,500, so that you're not going to binge.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I'm sure we can do that. Last year, I've always suffered with binge eating since I can imagine. I remember being in the pub, always waking up at night and going and having a protein shake, like, because I fancied that chocolate. Like at midnight, I would always get up and then go back to bed as if it never happened. So I've always struggled with eating at night, and I've always struggled with binge eating. And anything I kind of fancied, I would have. And I would always like go back for seconds, like when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So I'd never really had a good relationship with food. My mum's pretty much been anorexic her whole life until she gave birth to me. And I kind of think she gave me some kind of gene that just, I didn't go well with food from as long as I can remember.
Interesting.
So that's where bodybuilding has like really, really helped me. So after competition last year, like I never ever thought I'd get to stage. I never thought I'd be up there. So for me to, because I've always suffered with binge eating, for me to get to stage, like I still look now and think, oh God, I have no idea how I even got that lean. So after stage last year, I had like a few weeks off. I remember eating like a whole, oh God, my friend had baked me a Guinness cake, like a 16-man, you know, like big Guinness cake. I went for dinner that night, came home, ate half the cake, wake up the next day, went for a fried breakfast, ate the other half of the cake.
Wow.
So like cake for me is a demon, like it's an actual demon. So like I've always struck like and I think last year I literally was just like, I can't control myself around cake. I'm not even going to start.
No cake.
Like my birthday, my mum's birthday, I was just like, you can buy a cake for me, but I'm not going to eat it, because it just sends me on this whirlwind of I need to eat the whole cake until it's gone, and then I don't have to worry about it. And so if I know that I've got anything in the house that's like remotely sweet or cake-like, I know it has to go. Like it can't be in the house. I will get up at night and my demons inside me will make me go and eat that cake so that it's not there in the morning. And so as well, before comp this year, about 7 to 8 weeks out, I had my contraception changed.
Okay.
And oh my God, it sent me through the roof. My hormones were everywhere. And I've never ever had to deal with hormones before in my life. And I was eating like 1,000 calories more than I should have been. I didn't tell Justin.
Yeah.
I was having like a breakdown in my hormone. I didn't want to walk anywhere. I didn't want to go to the gym. And I was sitting on my lazy boy chair on Snapchat like, what is life? Like,
wow.
Just can't even deal with this. And I was like 6 or 7 weeks out, and I remember thinking, this can't go on much longer.
Did you gain weight when you changed like contraception, or did it just make things go fucked up?
It was like this on my little weigh-ins.
Yeah.
It literally would go up a few pounds and then down. But yeah, don't ever change a contraception during some kind of prep. Like I never thought it would happen. And that absolutely messed up my whole kind of 2 weeks of trying to lose weight. Thank God I didn't do it like a week before. Like that would have been horrific.
Fucking hell,
so pretty much from when that happened, I was quite focused. So maybe like 6 weeks out, I knew what had to be done and I was just focused on doing it. I did have like a few slip ups. I remember going into Sainsbury's just wanting to eat some cookies, buying the bag of like 5 freshly made cookies, going into my car, eating the whole bag, putting the bag in the bin, getting back in my car and driving off as if nothing had ever happened. Like, and I was listening to the podcast with Ant the other day, and he was just like, yeah, there was this one time when I thought about binging, but I didn't do it. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like, I wish that would happen to me. So after competition, it has been really tough. Like I haven't tracked macros now for probably about 8 weeks.
Oh wow, okay, interesting.
And like I'm obviously making sure I'm getting my micronutrients. I know how often I need to get my protein in. But for me at the moment, it's just about not being insane. Like
not being so like tracking everything.
Because where I've probably tracked for the last 9 months, obviously bulking and then shredding, I am kind of binge eating at the moment, I suppose.
Okay.
But I don't want to put myself on such a strict diet that it's going to make me do that even more. And over the last 5 weeks, I've put on all the weight that I lost.
Okay.
It's really hard for me now. Like I don't feel necessarily comfortable in all the fat that I've put on, because obviously you go from being so shredded to so not shredded within such a short period of time. So when people say they reverse diet, I say good on them. Like I I wish I had the power in me to do that. I
Yeah.
wish I never had to binge eat again, but there is just something inside me, and I've been getting up now. So my competition was mid-July.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're now in mid-September, and I'm struggling with night eating now. So I will get up out of my bed. I will know that there's a chocolate protein bar in the cupboard, or a bag of raisins, or some cereal. I will go downstairs. I will eat until I'm satisfied, and then I will go back to bed. And then I'll wake up in the morning like, Carla, man, why did you even do that? So I am pretty much like half and half asleep, and that's kind of why I never saw myself get into stage, because I've always had to deal with these kind of demons inside of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'll ever go, to be honest. So I've got obviously a much better relationship with food now.
Yeah.
And when I'm in like my macros of like bulking,
Yeah.
I never ever binge, because I don't need to, because I've got so much food that I can eat.
Yeah, I think having structure and a goal is massively important. So like you mentioned, you know, when you're dieting, you like only had a few slip ups, and when you're bulking, you have a ceiling, so you know that you can eat up to that ceiling, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like you don't need any more.
And that really helps me.
Yeah, and I think for girls, I think it's important. Like obviously, you know, you need time away from tracking. You need time to sort of have that relaxed period of like, yeah, you're not tracking everything, and you can sort of back off the gas a little bit. But likewise, you need some element of focus, and you need like a ceiling on your food intake. Otherwise, you will just have a tendency to think, oh well, I can fit this in, I can fit that in, and it gets all a bit messy. So I think that's a really, really good point. So yeah, I mean, I'm really like happy with that. I'm really happy with the content that we've put out. I'm really happy with the Juice Plus stuff. So before we sort of wrap things up, Carla, I just want you to give an idea as to where the listener can follow you on sort of social media. Give maybe where you're most active, because that's usually helpful. So where you're most active on social media, and where people can sort of like your pages and follow you more.
So I'm most active on Facebook every day. Obviously, I mainly run my business from there. It's kind of like my shop window. So anyone can go and follow me on there, which is obviously just Carla Chacksfield.
Okay.
Quite active as if you are daily on Snapchat, which is Carla Chacka. So Carla Chacca.
Cool.
And then I'm on Instagram, ICFit_Carla.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'll make sure that I'll link all those things up below. I'll link your Facebook page and all of that jazz. But again, Carla, thanks very much for your time. I know you're a busy person.
No worries.
Really
and if anyone has got any questions, like they're thinking about getting into competing, or if anyone is struggling with binge eating, or they just want someone else to speak to along those lines, then feel free to put me a message.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Carla. So yeah, that's a wrap for episode number 14. Mesa, if you could give us a review on iTunes, that'd be really, really helpful. We're still looking for more reviews. And if you're on Facebook, YouTube, if you're on YouTube, please give the video a like. And if you're on SoundCloud, please click the love button and share this podcast to your timeline. That'd be really appreciated. And yeah, make sure you subscribe for future episodes, and I will see you again in episode number 15.